All right, guys, I see that we're live, and welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Speaker Series. And I just want to say welcome, entrepreneurs, investors, and dream catchers. We have a phenomenal speaker for you today, and a guest and an entrepreneur. And I have the pleasure and honor to be here today with Melanie McCool. And we're going to be talking about something very, very exciting: how to program yourself for prosperity in life. And isn't that what we're all seeking, right? We're all in business, we're all working hard, we're all chasing and catching our dreams. But how do you create prosperity in your life? And Melanie has a very special passion. She is a medical hypnotherapist, and she has a very effective method for relieving symptoms, minimizing the perceived effects of certain conditions so that it no longer bothers you or get in your way, right? Because most often it's the thoughts, it's certain symptoms that keep you from achieving your full potential. And that's why Melanie's objective is really to help create a sense of peace and harmony within the individual so that the current challenge can be met and dealt with in a positive manner, and therefore making that journey towards wellness and peace of mind less traumatic. Now, I just get chicken pox from that, Melanie, and it's such a wonderful job and a mission that you're on. So welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Rob. I am wonderfully happy to be here. Thank you. And it is a mission that I'm on, because truly it was hypnotherapy that helped me to recover from a stress disorder some time ago, and had everything to do with the way I was thinking about my business. So this is very, very important what we're covering here today.
Beautiful. And I'm very excited, Melanie, because thinking is something that we do every single day. And sometimes I've heard people saying that we have over 42,000 thoughts per day on average. And so I always believe, as a high performer, right, in business, we're always trying to achieve high performance. So as a high performer, it is the thoughts that you're thinking that either can cause you to grow and excel, or actually to slow you down. So if you would have to describe a definition of how important thinking is, what would?
Well, as you just said, you are essentially every single day either living the same day over and over again for the next 35 years, right? Or you are consciously creating your future with your thoughts. So if I were to tell you that the way you're thinking is potentially holding you back from at least 6 figures in your business, you'd probably be really interested to know how on earth that could be, right? That it literally is. And it's actually more thoughts that are the same over and over and over again. Yeah.
So you gave a definition of thinking. So would you say that it's so critical to protect the thoughts that enter your mind and to become aware of what they mean to you?
Absolutely. The first thing is awareness of the thoughts that are repetitive, that may be holding you back from success in your life. Or even in other ways, sometimes we're able to pursue success, and yet there are other things about our thinking and our beliefs about the world and how money works, really, that will cause us to struggle unnecessarily. And that is my story in a nutshell. Would it be okay if I share a little bit about how I do what I do now to help entrepreneurs essentially unlock the money in their mind? Okay.
Absolutely. Good. Take us back and tell us a little bit, who is Melanie McCool? What is it that you do today, before we dive into your history? But we would love to know.
Yeah, I started in business more than 20 years ago, and I had no business being in business, but all I knew was that I wanted the lifestyle. I wanted freedom. I wanted my family. I wanted to travel. And so I started an internet-based business. And as I said, I had no business being in business, but I was determined to have what those people had. I figured nothing different between them and me, except they know something I don't know yet. And so I learned, and I went to work, and I was very successful in applying the skill sets that are required in order to be in business. But here's the thing, Rob, and what I want to really touch on with people today is that it was the way that I thought about money. It was the story that I was taught as a child that I didn't even realize I was carrying with me, that caused me to, number one, work harder for it than I needed to. So even when I was making well, a top 1% earner in the world, right? I would work 14-hour days even when I didn't need to, because I thought you have to work hard for money.
And Melanie, just real quick, was that in a job or was that in business?
I was in business. Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 26 or something.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
And working online and off. And then worse is that because I had this limiting belief, these are all, I think of these as the lies the world has taught us. Right. I had this limiting belief that rich people were somehow unethical. And so when I earned all that money in the past, I would spend it. I would get rid, and not just spend it, I would literally give it away. I was the most super generous human on the planet, which is good, but to a point. And then that made me have to work hard again. So do you see how these were literally just unconscious, subconscious things that were going on. So while I was successful, while I'd learned all the things to, get off plateaus, to break through, to be a high performer, all that, there were still these things that were going wrong. And ultimately it took me out of my career. And I had to spend the next 24 months getting my mindset right. So my mission now is actually to help people to do this without, number one, without ever getting sick. So to make more money with less work without getting burnt out. And two, for them not to take 24 months. Like, you can do this now. It doesn't have to take you all that time. I've cracked the code.
That's beautiful. And can you explain a little bit? You mentioned something very important. And actually, in our last interview last week, we touched on this in like sickness, health, right? It's a very essential part of this journey because too often, right, we have people in the audience, maybe 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure earners, but you can have all the money and maybe even certain freedoms in your life. But if you don't have the health to enjoy it, right, you're not living that rich and fulfilling life that we all strive to achieve. So why did you touch on the health aspect?
This is the most important thing for all of us to understand, is that we do think that we're limited, that we can either have money or success, or money or a happy family, or money or a happy love life. It's not an either or. Everything is actually available to you, but you might have learned that from somewhere in the past, whether it was from the people who raised you or society. This lack limiting thing is literally just in your thoughts. And when you decide that, and can I give a little tip for people who might be experiencing just that right now?
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is one of the magic pieces that I give my clients, and this is what I call a forward and backward affirmation. So you would say something like, the healthier I am, the more money I make. The more money I make, the healthier I am. You do it forward and backwards. And when you do that, you kind of shake out all of those false limiting beliefs. And then you begin to wonder, well, how could that be true? Well, the healthier I am and more money I make, that makes perfect sense because I'm more vitally healthy. My brain works better. I'm able to be more creative. And heck, what does it matter if I have the money if I'm dying, dude? I'm sorry, I can say that because that's how I felt. Okay. Yeah. And I am a health nut. I've been a health nut since I was a teenager. So I got all of the rest of the things going right, except for what was going on in here.
You and me both, by the way, Melanie. I'm a super health advocate. I consider myself a biohacker, right? I always seek for anything that can optimize my performance. Yeah. So we have a lot in common, but I want to real quick, without sidetracking us from this topic, but what I was curious about, we touched upon affirmations, Melanie, and just for the people, because we have spoke about this a lot. And I think that most people understand. I mean, if you just Google affirmations, right, you have a ton of affirmations that other people are saying, but can you give us a quick definition? What are affirmations and why should you use them?
Yes. And this is actually, I have a little bit of a different take on this, and a really important one. So an affirmation is something that if you are in business and you learn, well, you got to use the affirmations to get my mind on board. As I said, 20 years ago, I wasn't an entrepreneur. I was an organic farmer. I was an ecological consultant.
Wow.
Okay? And a yogi. So I was not a business person. So I learned these affirmations but here's what I know about affirmations. And essentially they are positive statements that you tell yourself that become true. Okay, that's the idea, right? So that's what I say, the happier you are, the more money you make. That's also a really good one. Yeah. The happier I am, the more money I make. The more money I make, the happier I am. The second one sounds pretty obvious, but the first.
And just by hearing you, it makes me happy.
Right, cool. So, but here's what's important is if you're using affirmations, yet they are in stark contrast to what your internal belief is. And that internal belief might be hidden from you. It might not be as obvious as you think, like the two that I told you about. You know, you have to work hard for it and rich people are jerks. I didn't realize that was my underlying programming, but it was in stark contrast to what I was doing consciously in the real world and in contrast to those affirmations that I was using. And so there was this push-pull, push-pull. And, you know, this yo-yo effect with money that people often experience.
Yeah.
They can't stay in momentum, right? That is exactly what that push-pull feels like, because you have one foot on the brake, unfortunately, because of the lies the world taught you, and one foot on the gas. And so you're like this, and this stress, it just like it would be in a car, is incredibly tough on you. Yeah. And so the best way for an affirmation to work first is to have those limiting beliefs no longer impact you, no longer have any, you know, impact on your life whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So say something like, the more time I spend with my family, the more successful I become. And the more successful I become, the more time I spend with my family. That feels true versus what you might have learned, which is that, oh, I don't know, like me, like your single mom you never saw because you had to work all the time, right? So see how that would be in contrast with what I wanted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the little different take on affirmations, saying they're incredibly important because the way you speak to yourself is the most important words you'll ever hear. However, if they don't feel good, it actually can be, you know, not as helpful as it could be.
So are you saying that the feeling that it generates by saying it, that contributes?
100%. Yes, it's in the body. It's literally a physical, emotional, biochemical response. So if it feels kind of like, or I'm lying, then really look at why. Why does it feel icky? Why does it not feel true? Yeah. What could it have been about your past that makes that not feel true? And how can you make it true for you now?
Yeah.
Or what is different now? And now that you're an adult and your life is far different from the people that you learn that stuff from.
Beautiful. And Melanie, so in our audiences, we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are currently, you know, building their business, starting their journey. Some of them, they have been in business for years, right? They're very established, but everybody reaches that point where you hit your plateaus, right? Your roof, your ceiling, and you're no longer growing. Now, I personally believe that it's because you're being conditioned, or you have been conditioned by certain limiting beliefs. It's in the word, right? It's limiting, so it doesn't allow you to grow any further. Mm-hmm. Now, do you have a few tips or practices that maybe you're teaching in your among your clients in how to identify someone's limiting beliefs? Because becoming aware of them and then changing them through affirmations, that's one side, but how do you actually know that you carry them with you?
Well, it really does come down to sinking down to that place inside of you that knows you best. And we call this going into trance. It's very easy. It's something you can do just by closing your eyes and breathing slow. And then I have a few questions that I pose to people's minds. And when those questions are posed, the answers come up very quickly and easily from the deepest part of you, not from this thing, because this thing you have been putting stuff on the outside all the time. Like that's your conscious learning. How many trainings, certifications, seminars? I mean, we're doing everything to develop the heck out of ourselves, right? But there's still the stuff that's deep, deep.
Yes.
And so essentially I ask the questions like using the trigger words that I know get people. So we cover things like words around money, what rich people are like, what would happen if you were really well off? What would happen if you charge more for your services? What would, you know, I ask these kinds of questions so that you can see what you risk. This is the big word. What does your self think you risk if you are more wealthy? And for a lot of people, it's things like, well, I'll lose my family or my health or my tribe. People won't love me. The people that I have around me will leave me because I'm better than them. whatever that means. So there's these things at play. And so you identify those, and then you can build up your truisms, what is actually true now versus that.
Yeah.
And that's how you create your affirmations, the most positive affirmations you can come up with. So if, for example, you do feel like, if I earn more than my parents, this is one that gets people. if I'm more, what, they won't love me anymore. And you go, that's no longer relevant. You know, as an adult, it's not relevant. In fact, it'd be a heck of a lot better if I made a lot more money so I could take care of them, because that's what they actually want now. Right?
Yeah.
It's okay for me to become very, very wealthy, to become extremely wealthy, to become affluent beyond anything I've ever imagined, because I can take care of people who I love.
Yeah,
right?
Beautiful. And can we dive a little bit deeper into this? Because I hear this all the time, Melanie, and among my students, I hear it all the time. I don't know if I will be able to handle becoming so successful.
Oh my goodness, this is the best one. You just hit it, Rob. And thank you. I actually made a note on this one, because this is one of the biggest problems. Okay, now I'm gonna go, this isn't off topic.
Please, I give you full permission.
All right, so there's two things that we do not talk about. It is the most tragic things that we don't talk about: sex and money, okay? And these are the two things that people end up in therapy for, either in divorce court or divorce therapy, or same thing. So the problem is, most people who are holding themselves back, who've hit a plateau, they have this belief that they don't know how to manage their money, that they don't know how to take care of it. And it could be that when they were a kid, they messed up, or it could be that they were never taught. My friend, you know this, Rob. You're an adult, and you have the permission now to enjoy learning this money thing. Enjoy learning how to manage, earn more, you know, spend it wisely, save and invest and grow it. And you are able now to make that decision. And the moment you make that decision that you love money, that you love the numbers, that you love what they'll do, that you love telling your money where it goes, yay, right? I'm going to make all this extra money so that I can buy some more properties. That sounds like a good idea, right, Rob?
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you make that decision as an adult, and your mind immediately can go to work to create more money so you can tell it where to go. And so the solution to this actually requires more than affirmations. This one takes action.
Yeah.
Is you then say, and so here's your affirmation. I'm excited to learn how to manage the money that flows into my life. The more money that flows into my life, the more exciting it is to manage. That's you. And so but then here's what you have to do. You have to begin to right now from wherever you are. You can't say, oh, I'll learn how to take care of it when I've got $1 million.
No.
We're going to get $1 million. It's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So yeah, I'm so passionate about this, because it's these things that we didn't talk about as children. We're not taught in school, which is why where you're stepping in and doing education for people is just miraculous. Really, the difference it can make in people's lives. But again, if it's coming in on the outside, to get right with it on the inside will make all the difference.
Yeah.
And how people are able to apply.
And I think this is such an important topic, Melanie, because you're right. Those are the two things that people don't talk about, but it's also the two things, or at least the money subject. Like, if you can cover your fundamentals, right? There's absolutely, because there's a whole bunch of affirmation. People even tell themselves, look, the money is the root of all evil. Or I don't deserve to make a lot of money because a lot of people in poor countries, they don't have that much. Or, like, my parents have never been rich, so we have to be modest. We have to be living a modest life. Right, but it's actually keeping yourself small. It's limiting thinking, and it really, and the most powerful, the big one, and I think we heard this so often: money doesn't buy happiness. What do you think about that, Melanie? That one specifically, money doesn't buy happiness. What is your response?
This is one of the either ors. This also goes along with a lot of families said, we don't have much, but we have love.
Yes.
Who the heck says you can't have both?
Yeah.
Okay. So money can't buy happiness, but you're a heck of a lot happier figuring out what happiness means when you got it and you're not struggling. You're not in pain.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's a heck of a lot less happy to not have it than to have it. And they are not mutually exclusive. So when you say money doesn't buy happiness, what you're actually saying is that somehow if I have it, I'm giving up happiness.
Yeah.
You don't even realize that that's what you're saying. But when you say it like that, you're saying, if I have more, I'll be unhappy. I'll be like those miserable millionaires. I don't want to be like that. Well, so let's fix that, shall we? Do you know any people who are really well off and are really happy, who have joy in their lives,
Yeah.
who have beautiful families, who are healthy beyond most people's expectation, especially for their age, who really live by their values, spending time with people they love, and yet their money's growing and growing and growing. Do you know anybody like that, Rob?
Yes, I'm very blessed, Melanie. I have a lot of those people. And my mentors. We all live beautiful, happy lives, and we have a lot of money.
And so that's where you put your mind. You go, well, if they can have that, then so can I. There's no different. Those people simply have a different belief system that I'm taking on now. I decide as an adult what my belief system is. My belief system determines my actions, which determines my outcome. So your current circumstances have nothing to do with your destiny. Okay, it has everything to do with what's going on right here.
Yeah.
Beliefs and the way you feel are going to determine what your future looks like. And it can happen a whole lot faster than people think. Yeah. And they keep this in mind.
Beautiful. And that really resonates with me, because I always say it doesn't matter where you are today, but what matters is where you're going to go. So it really doesn't matter what your circumstances are today, because it will not determine your potential. And if you can change your thinking about your current circumstances, even about yourself, because one of the other things that I noticed, Melanie, is that you have to change your self-image, how you think about you. Because you can start with how you think about money, how you think about everybody or everything else. But if there's somehow still a limiting belief about you, you're still the one that have to take massive actions. So what advice can you give if we want to start from the self, right? If we want to improve that mental self-image that we hold of ourselves, to be starting changing our circumstances around us, like what would you say, or how could you unlock that process of self-transformation?
Well, people think a certain way about themselves. And as I say, you think a certain way about yourself, but you do know that you're more than that, don't you?
Yeah.
And so there's a couple of different ways. First, one of them is the fastest way to raise your own self-esteem, okay, is to do what you said you were going to do in the first place. So that means setting these, we can call them small goals. That's fine for your business, and being consistent. And so in every time that you do something that is in alignment with the future that you envision, it feels so satisfying. And it's so true to yourself. See, when you have a dream and you've got a foot on the brake, you're essentially hurting yourself. So getting that foot off the brake and going forward, that's one way. But here's another kind of an internal way, because I am the hypnotherapist, right?
Yeah.
And that is to put yourself into that future life. See yourself in that place. So you can do this in quiet and trance. We call this interviewing the future self. And put yourself in that, see as much as you can see, feel as much as you can feel, that juicy dream life, prosperous in every way, okay? So love, adventure, fun, money, laughter, health, good food, all of it.
Yes.
You can get.
Yeah.
And then look back and think, who did I become? What did I do differently? What have I stopped doing? Have I? Do you get it? You're doing it. What do I say now that I have it? What don't I say? Right? And so putting yourself in that future and then living from that space, because I don't like to talk in terms of, pay per hour, but it just helps with the mind.
Okay.
So I say, if you were going to be paid $1,000 an hour, okay? How would that person who earns $1,000 an hour behave? How would they carry themselves? Who would they be? And then just put yourself into that place. Be the actor or the actress in that play in as much as your day as you could be. And realize that when you are earning that kind of money, oh, you're a good person. You're not a jerk. People who make lots of money like I do are actually really good and generous and kind and philanthropy. And, you know, I changed the world with the money that I make in ways that I couldn't do before. You see, you keep going in this way. Yeah. You go, oh, and I'm generous and I get to spend more time with the people I love and I'm healthier. Oh, look at all these things. And so essentially, this is a different take on act as if. It is actually, but it is far more powerful because it involves more of your senses. And when you bring your entire body and all of your neurochemistry, you see, the neuroscience of success has so much more than just words going yap, 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 repeated. It's a feeling.
Yeah, because the feeling drives action. Think about it. If you have to get up in the morning, right? We have this. We have a club which is called the 5 a.m. club, and there's really peak performance inside. People that are going at it every single day, and you have a choice. You have a choice to stay in and turn around and get back to sleep because you're not feeling it today. Or you go out and you maybe listen to some motivational audio, read a good book, you be quiet with yourself and you raise that vibrational energy. It's how you feel about it that drives the action. So it almost sounds to me, Melanie, that you have to craft a new identity for yourself.
Totally.
If you're currently version number 1 and you want to get to a certain point in life, right? You have to craft a new identity, then feel the emotion behind that and how that person will act, behave, speak, and then start living like it. So like you mentioned, act as if.
And when you do that, when you tell your mind that would feel good to you, your subconscious gets behind you to do those things easier. So in ways, some people might have found it more difficult to get up at 5 a.m. until they felt really good about who they were being. Or some people might have found it hard to choose the right foods, right? But when you tell your mind that you feel really good about being that vital, healthy, wealthy version of yourself, suddenly it becomes really easy for you to make those choices because you're getting your subconscious behind you with your emotions. Your subconscious, it works in symbolism, in images, in emotion. It doesn't work in the conscious stuff that you're putting outside. No. Or we'd all be healthy, wealthy, and wise and wouldn't have to even have this conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Hey, Melanie, in your practice, right, with your clients, when you apply, maybe you can talk a little bit about your process, right, in the work that you do. And then what I would be fascinated to learn about is some of the stories that you have or that you can share from some of your clients, because I think we're always looking to see or to hear those transformational stories from people that have applied that process, where they found themselves in a certain position and then through hard work and consistency, they completely changed the course of their direction. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So the process that I work through with people, there's a definite arc. There's a from wherever somebody starts to the outcome for them. So it will be very personalized. However, there are certain key points that I know I've always got to kind of get through the mess because I see the same patterns in my clients over and over again. Things like them having spent years and years in personal and professional development and still stuck in self-sabotage or procrastination. Right. And this leads to guilt and shame, which just adds, that's the negative spiral. We've just talked for the last 5 minutes about how it feels wonderful. And this is what drives an entrepreneur. Enthusiasm drives an entrepreneur. Enthusiastic optimism, not shame and guilt. Yeah. Okay? So people start their business, they're excited, they have that dream that I say, it's a dream. We have a gift, a spiritual gifting of the entrepreneur, to see something unseen yet, right? And to go. So they started like that, and then things happened along the way, or maybe their limiting beliefs showed up and they didn't even realize it. They put their foot on the brake, and now they're stuck. and then guilt and shame. So there's things that I do to shake that up, to help people to get rid of the lies. So if I were to really summarize, I say, we get rid of the lies, which helps them to be more of who they are. So I'm just helping them to access their own inner resources without the limiting the brakes on anymore. Yeah. And when we do that, my goodness, I have had clients who within weeks have brought in $30,000, who have within, I have one client who his exact testimonial was, in the last 8 weeks, I have done more work than I've done in 2 years. And not only that, but then the things that he'd accomplished in his business, the vision expanding amazingness, when he stopped putting his foot on the brake because of something that he'd been holding on to, he had no idea was even playing a part in his subconscious, right? And then I have other beautiful things that are related in that women who have, in gaining their own understanding of how resourceful they are, and that they are worthy of that income. It's not just about income. It's about love in their lives, all around them, in a partner, from their families, and their own health. So that kind of stuff actually juices me up even more than saying, yeah, well, I've got this, this coach went and she's got her practice grew to like 80 grand and she was from nothing. Like, that's exciting. But what's more exciting is, not more, but for me is like, actually all of these pieces of my life are coming together in a way that's beautiful. And I feel really good about money. I feel good about money when it comes in. I feel good about money when I get to spend it. I feel good I'm friends with money as I'm friends with myself. You see? So these outcomes are perhaps the bigger picture of what I do. So people, they come to me because they have money blocks, but they don't realize they also have
absolutely.
Self-love blocks too. So we get those out of the way.
Yeah, and that's phenomenal, because money is just an energy, right? It's if you think about it, it's not even backed up by gold anymore. It's just a piece of paper, and then nowadays the government is printing trillions of dollars, right, to infuse into the economy. So if you think about it, money.
I've got a bowl of money over here, all different kinds of paper, just to exemplify that, because it's just paper from all over the world, like paper, pretty paper, artistic paper. And I get to spend or hold on to if I want to. So.
Exactly. You have the choice, but it's how you feel about it. Because I think you said that earlier on, right? Like, you make a lot of money and you spend a lot of money, but money seems to flow always to the people that love it the most, right? It's how you feel about that. The money will always circulate back to the person that is happy to receive it. And I personally call this the law of attraction and the law of repulsion. Either way, depending on how you think about it, you're either repulsing it or you're attracting it. And you just said so. You have a whole bowl of money. Would you be able to show it to us? Right. Okay. All right. I see some bills.
Pounds and lira. You can't even use that.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's like all different coins. Yep.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's exciting. So Melanie, take us through your entrepreneurial journey, right? Because you have gone through your own transformation. I mean, you were an ecological farmer.
Yeah,
right. You're an ecological farmer, and today you are a hypnotherapist working with entrepreneurs and from people all over to help them remove their money blocks, their self-doubts and limiting beliefs. So talk to us about that journey. How did you get there, and what do you enjoy most at the moment about having your own business?
Yeah. Well, I started because I wanted to be mom. I valued family, and I wanted to be there for my children in a way that my mother wasn't able to. And so as a home-based entrepreneur, I learned the skills to be a master at online lead generation, prospect sales and marketing has been my world. And I treated in that way, I treated it kind of like as a job. I mastered all the different skills, and I love this word, inevitable. Okay. So I saw my success as inevitable. Yes, it took longer. It was harder than I thought. It took me, actually, back in the day, almost 6 years to earn more than part-time income. But once I did that, holy crap, we talk about that momentum hitting, right? Things just went through the roof. I was like, oh, this is what they mean, right? And so I had, so I was in sales and marketing for, goodness, at least 15 years, very successful, traveling all over the world. Teaching, training, leadership development was my passion, still is. And then, as I said, in 2017, I got taken out of that normal world. I could no longer really even go out into the community to do the business networking I was doing. And it was really a wake-up call in the biggest possible way. And I kind of lost my identity in a way, because I didn't know who the heck I was. First of all, I wasn't able, I felt like at the time, I wasn't able to apply the skills that I'd mastered to bring in the money I was used to. That was pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And
it must have been confusing.
It was hard. But then I quickly, as is what I teach people, you know, this word pivot that seems to be so important right now. I quickly said, okay, well, what can I do? And so I pivoted and I created an online course and a business. I taught LinkedIn marketing and lead generation. And I did just fine. I worked from home while I got well with hypnotherapy, because I knew it was a mind-body thing. As I said, I'm a health nut, and I've been a health nut my whole life. It wasn't that I somehow wasn't eating right, wasn't sleeping right. It was literally stress. So what hypnotherapy was helping me, and I thought, well, honestly, Rob, the only thing I ever wanted to do throughout my career was to help adults to break through whatever their limits were, so that they could see their dream life in the way that I knew that money makes available, because I'd done that in my own way, right?
Yeah.
So all I ever wanted to do is help adults. And then I realized, oh, this hypnotherapy thing, this is how I can help adults really fast. It doesn't have to take them 20 years. They don't have to burn out on their path. And I can help them really fast. And so essentially, I completely reinvented my life. And it came so easy because I was doing what felt right in my heart, which is helping my tribe, entrepreneurs who had been speaking, leading, training, working with for, at that point, 17 years. And now working as a hypnotherapist. And it has been, I say miraculous. Miraculous what I have seen in my clients. The same people who I might have worked with for years and years and years and years in the past, who would find themselves in the same place, self-sabotage, procrastination, just going poof. Now I'm off to the races. I thought, you know what? If I'd had this 20 years ago, how much different could my life be? But can't think that way. Just got to think, okay, well, what do we do from here on out?
Yeah. And sometimes this is life teaching us a lesson, right, Melanie? Sometimes you have to go through these, aha moments. You have to go through these experiences in life, because in the end, I believe that our purpose in this world is to find your purpose.
Yes.
And once you are on purpose, you will ignite a tremendous amount of passion. Because a lot of people say, they come to me and they say, Rob, I don't know how I can monetize my passions. And I say, well, I think you have it backwards. First, you have to understand your purpose. Mm-hmm. What is it, that unique skill set and those gifts that you were instilled with? And how can you pursue those? And when you start taking action, you will ignite a tremendous amount of passion behind that and with that. So you really, really start to enjoy what you do. And once you are in flow, right? And that seems that has been your journey. Once you all of a sudden you went like poof, like a rocket accelerating, that's when you know that you're on purpose. Yeah. And that's a very beautiful state to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that what people don't understand is that the thing that you bring with such value into the world, it seems so natural for you that you don't even realize it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's why people have a hard time connecting value and how they can get paid to live what they do easy. But it is only through really operating in that zone of genius, the place where that you're best at, that you are able to serve people at the highest level. So it takes a bit of like really understanding, what do I do better than other people? What can I do? What do I do better than other people can, that I find easy and other people find hard? That's it right there. Look at that. Look at that. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Melanie, we have a couple of questions from the audience coming in. So are you okay if I just fire a couple of questions and address them in real time? Because people are loving this, Melanie. It's a hot topic, and people are saying, look, we have people in the audience that some of them, they experience stress, anxiety, burnout, and maybe that goes hand in hand with the, you know, the current reality, right? The pandemic hitting hard, and people having been in the house for a long time. But what advice would you give to someone that is trying to stay consistent, build their, you know, their business, their empire, their journey towards success, but they're feeling burnout, they are low on energy, money is maybe in limitation for them? What would you say? What could they do to starting today, right, to reverse that process and to find that happiness again?
Thank you. Because it's exactly why I do what I do, because the same things that I used to recover from stress disorder are the things that people can use right now. So what they should understand before we even go anywhere is that there's nothing wrong with you except that.
Okay.
So if you're procrastinating, it doesn't mean that you have a character flaw. Procrastination is a stress response. Okay. And so essentially when you're stressed, all of your energy is going to the fight, flight, survive part of your mind. You only have so much energy. And when it's taken to that world, which is what we've been put under, right? If you allowed it, then your creative mind, this part of you right here, it can't go to work. But here's the thing. The moment you bring your stress down, and this is done through meditation, through hypnosis, this is done very quickly and easily, even just putting one hand on the front of your head and one hand on the back, taking three deep breaths, thinking relax, brings your stress level down. And so my highest recommendation for anyone who's experiencing this right now is to do as many practices as you can to bring your stress levels down. Don't think about the money thing right now, please. In this part of it, it is literally about getting your nervous system and your brain back to that beautiful, creative, creator that you are. And you've got to bring yourself back to this place where you know you're safe, right? And being safe in your body, bringing your stress levels down, slowing down your breathing, your heart rate, doing that enough through the day, you'll find that your creative mind will come back on board, and you'll have those ideas that can help you to pivot. So if you're in that incredible stress place, I have a 5-minute process that I'm happy to share here in the comments. I will.
Yeah.
People can do that, because that's exactly how not only did I get out of where I was, but right now in today and through this whole thing that we've been living through, those practices have kept me healthy, helped me to more than double my income in my business, even during this crazy time. And I fully believe it's because my creative mind is on board versus the stress response.
Yeah. Beautiful. Very, very powerful. So good. So I hope that helps. And we have another question related to the money subject. You talked about earlier save and invest, right? And that's exciting, because I think you and me both were investors too, right? Besides entrepreneurs, we're investors, making money work for us than we rather working harder for the money. So in these times, and by the way, I'm so happy to know that you have been able to focus this year and double your income.
Yeah.
Right? So what can you teach our entrepreneurs here in the community to direct their money, to make the money work for them? Like people that are currently, having still income, right? They have their business or they have a job, but they don't want to be working those 12 to 14 hours a day. They want to invest and direct that and channel it so it can actually work for them. Like, what would you say to those people?
Well, there's two parts of this, and I'm sure you could speak on this very, very well. But two parts is, number one, you're paying yourself first. No matter whatever your income is now, You let your mind know that you feel safe enough about your money that you're paying yourself first. There's savings happening. At the same time, though, this is not a time to contract. That is the worst case scenario. I said I've doubled my income, but I've also probably more than doubled the type of money that's going out to expand my capabilities.
Yeah.
And this is the investment that is most important, is investing in yourself to develop the skills or to hire the talent, whatever that looks like for you, right? Allow it to go out in smart ways. You can discern what's best for your money in smart ways that will help you to grow. This is critical. And here's probably the biggest piece, is in different ways than you've done before. So in the past, if you've invested in lots of kind of online courses or things where you didn't get, the support from somebody who really knows stuff, then do it different this time. Find somebody that can absolutely take you by the arm, a mastermind that you can be a part of, so that you're with people. My goodness, Rob, you're with other people who are not sinking. No way. At the very least, hanging tight, but even better, people whose mission is right now to grow. And there are communities, there are people, there are tribes, there are those of us who are on a growth path right now. Align yourself with those kinds of people. And that may take an investment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And of course, you're going to surround yourself in your mind with all the right things to listen to and learn from. And I have mentors who I've never met, people who have passed from the earth. I still call them mentors, right? Yeah. Do all that too. But at the same time, do something different than you've done before. Because now is a time to link arms with those who are thriving versus contracting. Or if you're left alone, my friend, that's really not a place to be. I can't imagine where I'd be right now if I was trying to do this thing.
Yeah. Well, you're in the end the average person of your surroundings, right? So assess very carefully who you surround yourself with today. Where do you get your information from? And like Melanie mentioned, if you find the mastermind, and that is one of the principles, right, of Think and Grow Rich. Yes. An iconic book. And if you haven't read it, I absolutely recommend you to get that today. Think and Grow Rich. A mastermind will provide you with constant information to achieve that next level, right? To feed you and to feed off of that energy of your tribe members that are on the journey of growth. And that is how you really move forward. Because your own opposed limitations is really decided by your environment. So especially if you're operating from home in this new reality, right? We're all living and operating online, even online. Find your tribe or find your support group and talk to people like Melanie, right? To get your thinking right. Yeah. So that's a big one. So thank you for sharing that, Melanie. And now we're currently in the end, almost the end of September, right? I'm so amazed how time goes by. We're heading into the holiday seasons almost. How would we be able, Melanie, to take a sprint, right? If there's people currently hungry, they're saying, I'm ready to go, right? What can you give them? What advice can you give them in terms of tweak your thinking to set yourself up for success and make this, instead of the worst year, your best year yet?
Absolutely awesome. So actually, I would recommend that you unlock the money in your mind, that you take this time to get your thinking right. There's nothing more important to do. This isn't necessarily a time to just be a human doing, right? This is a time to get your thought processes right. When you do that, everything becomes more effortless, automatic, natural, versus you striving. Okay, I love the word ambition. I love the word being tenacious, but we can do that with the right energy, which feels intelligent, which feels like artful flow, versus I gotta do this because I'm gonna die if I don't. And if you have those icky feelings around money in any way, if angst comes up for you when you think about finances, that is the biggest clue that you should get it right and do that first before you do anything else.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that's phenomenal advice, guys. if anything else, right, get your thinking right, unlock that potential in your mind, and going back to what we talked about earlier, design the character that will set you up for success, right? Become that next person that is capable of achieving those dreams. And that's why my community, Melanie, I call them dream catchers.
Love that.
Because we're not just chasing dreams, we're catching them. And it's by developing a clear mental picture of where you want to go. So this was very exciting for me, Melanie. And we do always something cool for the community, right? Because we're here to elevate people. We're here to send the elevator back and to share some of that success, what we're currently experiencing, and help the community. So I wanted to ask you if you are open to do something awesome for the people currently watching this. And usually we do that in the sense of like, can people get in touch with you if they're currently listening and they're like, this is amazing, right? I would love to get some clarity on how I can implement this in my life. Is there a way, Melanie, that we can do something for the community? I'm thinking like, can they reach out to you and maybe have a short consultation with you to give them the framework to get their thinking right in 2020?
Absolutely, yes. If you reach out to me right here on Facebook, you can find me, you can send me a message, and we'll set up a call. I would love, you give me 15 minutes and I will help you to identify your #1 block to prosperity.
Wow.
Okay? So absolutely reach out and we can get that process of getting your mind right so that you're programmed for prosperity fast.
Wow. Guys, this is incredibly generous. So what I need you to do is go and find Melanie McCool on Facebook, send her a personal message, right? And mention that you have seen her on the show here, the Entrepreneur Speaker Series today. And Melanie will be generous with her time and to have 15 minutes of a consultation to give you the blueprint and the framework to get your thinking right. I personally believe that that is probably the biggest gift besides anything else, right? The biggest gift is to get your thinking right. And if you follow that approach, guys, 2020, it can end with a phenomenal bang. So I'm so incredibly grateful, Melanie, as we're coming to a close to have you on the show tonight. It was absolutely fascinating. And I always like to ask you to close us out, right? For the people currently watching this live here on the show, what would you say? What advice can you give them to take that final journey to the end of 2020 and make this your best year ever?
I like to do it in quite a unique way. And that is to ask you to just for a moment to settle into yourself, into the core of your being, into who you know that you are, and remembering who you are versus the story that's gone on recently or the story you've been telling yourself about what the future could hold. And instead reminding yourself of who you are and understanding that that vision that you hold for your future is meant to come into the present. Is meant to come to fruition, and to just allow your subconscious mind to lead you, to give you the easy, effortless, automatic inspiration to take the next step that is right for you to be programmed.
So good. So good. Thank you so much, Melanie. It was my absolute honor to have you on the show. Maybe we can do this again sometime in the fall season, because I think that this is incredibly powerful. And I had so much fun connecting with you today.
It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful today.
Beautiful, guys. So reach out to Melanie. Make sure you connect and follow her. Melanie, is there any other channels that you're currently present? Is there a way for people to connect with you?
Yes, I have a group on Facebook, Program for Prosperity, and I have a 4-day free workshop, unlockmoneyinyourmind.com/free.
Beautiful. Unlock Money in Your Mind. I think that's a phenomenal domain name.
Thanks.
All right, so guys, go and connect and take advantage of that and follow Melanie, because she's on a path, right, to transform lives. And it's people like Melanie that it will cause massive transformation. And this is how together we create a better world. So I'm very grateful for you, Melanie. Thank you so much. And I hope to speak to you soon again.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.